Awesome. Awesome. It's great being in pads, also great being inside. It's definitely a plus. But no, it was good. I think that's what we needed as a team. Like, obviously, the first couple installs, your playbook's pretty limited. You're running the same things. A lot of pass game just because we're in spiders, but being able to come in here and kind of shake off that rust a little bit more and get that contact, I think it was really good for the offense and the defense. I think, we'll have to go watch the film, but I think it was super productive for both sides, and I think it was a great foundation. Just the energy. There's a lot of things you can coach. You can always coach things and get better, but it's hard to coach, people wanting to get better and like showing that effort and like having that culture to where people want to hit each other and, be professional and not be, chaotic in their contact, but being aggressive how you need to be.
What was the offseason like for you? What did you focus on? I mean, you've been through a lot throughout your career, accomplished a lot. I mean, what was the focus going into?
No, it was good. It was nice to be settled in. Obviously, offseason last year was kind of finding my fit and, ultimately ending up here. But I didn't get that, summer entirely to settle in that spring ball. So really just building camaraderie and, getting around the guys. I feel like, trying to settle into a leadership role, not just on the field, but outside the field, having guys over. Me and Logan Parr live together now, so we'll get a bunch of the offensive guys, still get the defense over. We still like the defense. But just building those relationships, because it really does carry over to the locker room and ultimately carries over the field. And yeah, it's been super good and productive, I think.
When did you finally decide you were going to come back for this season?
I always leaned towards coming back, and I set some hooks out to see what was going to bite, but I talked to some people, some good sources close to me, some people I trust, and ultimately it was a pretty easy decision, and really was no problem to me. I love being here, so I think it's going to be a lot more fun this year. Keep building on last year and keep enjoying it. Be settled in. I've got a really good feel for the playbook now, so that comes easier, and it's just a great group of guys to be around. So camp is a struggle and all that, and sure, it's long. We're on practice 3. We're just getting started, but just being around the guys is such a unique thing in college football, and I think it's a super cool experience. So.
Are you doing a second master's this year? Or?
Yeah, I've applied for the Master's of Liberal Studies.
Okay.
But
you finished at Cox, right?
I did. Yeah, I finished Master's Management. Now it's more of like a focus on football type thing, but I still take great pride in my academics.
Your relationship with RJ developed over the last year, and how important is that given just the makeup of this room and the role that you guys are going to have this year?
Yeah, I mean, we've really only gotten closer, got to know each other really well, especially once season ends, like getting through the off season. We hang out outside of the facility all the time. All the tight ends do, but for me and RJ, it's cool. I think we're both really excited about what we can both bring to the table, as individuals, but also together. Being out in the field together, it just provides really unique mismatches and versatility for our offense, and I think it's only going to help us. So, I love the kid. He let me go first in the interview, so shout out him for that. I told him I'd give him a shout out. So you can say it's good. We've got a great relationship.
What's that like? You didn't really break out until his injury, so the two of you, when you shared the field, weren't necessarily known commodities at the same time. How do you envision that causing problems for defenses now that they really know that they have to worry about both of you when you're out there together?
Yeah, I think hopefully it'll be a shift from, being more substitutional to complementary. And I think, if we get out there at the same time, we can have two guys who can perform in the box, so we can both spread out. It's just, you have the opportunity to provide so many looks for a defense to have to, even just the sole fact that they have to go over all these looks in film throughout the week provides, a unique challenge that I don't know many teams have. So, I think we have a super loaded tight end room. We got Stone EB too. We can go into triple tight end sets, and I mean, I might be biased, but we could do a lot with all of our tight ends. Tripp and Adam, Miles Uter just got here. He's coming along great, so it's super exciting.
You mentioned you and Logan just getting together and building the relationships with the offense. How is just the cohesion going with the offense? Because it seems like there's a good mix of experience and some exciting young talent.
Yeah, we do have a bunch of young guys, but honestly, they're all completely bottom of the program, and I think, that's hard to maintain as you become a higher rated program, keeping guys who are bought into the culture and, the identity that we stand for as a team. So being able to keep that cohesion, and they kind of just jumped along on the, jump on the train. It's a one-track mind. If you're either pushing it, you're riding it, or you're kind of in the way. So we got a lot of guys who are pushing this train in one direction. I think it's really exciting.